Hello and welcome to This Is a G. My name is Jillian. I'm a somatic anthropologist and PhD student studying the body-mind connection, and I'm sharing what I learn on this channel. I'll be offering many somatic practices in the future, and so I wanted to take the time to set you up for both safety and success. What is a somatic practice? While I might often ask you to close your eyes, release your roaming thoughts, and focus in on your breath, somatic practices are not traditional meditations. Somatic practices are experiential. They are a way of learning to let the body speak rather than forcing it to be quiet or treating it like something to transcend. Now, lots of unexpected things happen during these sessions, even the most basic sessions. Surprising emotions, memories, and sensations are normal and indeed the whole point. And it's also why preparation matters, which is why I'm recording this video. Most importantly, though, these practices are not a substitute for therapy or for mental health treatment. If you repeatedly notice big responses to somatic work, then I highly recommend finding a licensed mental health professional to give you one-on-one assistance. You can look up somatic professionals in your area who specialize in modalities like somatic experiencing if you find that you need more help. What to expect in your body? Somatic work can be destabilizing, especially without a facilitator present. Now, I love guided videos because they are very accessible, but I always want you to be safe. And I encourage you to set the intention each time you do a practice that the transformation and subsequent integration are gentle, because intention setting really does matter. You might feel pleasurable sensations, finding the sensuous nature of caressing breath on each inhale and exhale. But you might also find your breath quick and shallow when you scan your body and find it still holding on to something, maybe a memory or something you recently saw in the news. You might find a place within you that's been numb, and your loving attention begins to wake it up. Sensation after numbness can feel unmanageable, even dangerous to the body, which is why I want you to set yourself up well. Knowing that these things can arise and that this is normal is part of being safe. Now, what do you do if it becomes too much? This is really important. You can stop at any time. Open your eyes, stop the video, bring yourself back to the present moment. You can feel your feet on the ground, look around you, and really take in the objects that surround you. Really look and notice 5 or 6 things as if you're seeing them for the first time. Let your hands move. They can touch your chair or whatever surface you're on. They can touch your skin. Straighten your spine and feel your inner strength. I've also created a video specifically meant to anchor you in loving presence. So that is a resource too, and I will link it below. Now, if you are still feeling stressed and activated at this point, please find someone to talk to, a friend or a therapist, someone who can be with you. Remember, all of this is okay. You have permission to take care of yourself. Not just that, you have an imperative to take care of yourself. Where should you do somatic practices? A private space is invaluable, and it can feel really good to set the space up with intention. Maybe you bring in candles or flowers or soft fabrics, anything that makes you feel good, anything that helps you access your pleasure. Usually you can do these practices lying down or seated, and I might ask you to move in some of these practices. However, these are also meant to be accessible, so if mobility is an issue for you, you can do these movements where you are. Remember that everything I offer is merely an invitation, and you can adapt everything to suit your own capacity, desires, and needs. Sometimes I'll ask you to close your eyes, and sometimes it might feel better to open your eyes wide or to hold a soft gaze. But never do these practices while driving or operating anything. The felt sense. First of all, what even is the felt sense? Here I'm drawing from philosopher Eugene Gendlin's work. A felt sense is a way of tapping into what your whole self knows. Mind, body, spirit, anything you consider to be yourself. He used the term focusing to describe what emerges when a specific quality of attention is given to your experience. It encompasses the conscious and unconscious, known and unknown, intentional and unintentional, because we are always taking in information as we move about our world, and the felt sense allows us to access it. Sometimes I am going to ask you to speak out loud what you're noticing. That's because speaking bridges your thinking mind and your feeling body. I'm not going to ask you to do this in every practice, but when I do, building that bridge is why. And it might feel strange at first. It probably will. That's normal. It might take a while too. In your first practice, you might struggle to put a name to even one sensation. But with practice, you get better and better. To get started, you can think of things like pressure, size, sensation. For example, in a practice meant to open you up towards love, you might notice the itching pressure of your bra band. If you wear one, you might notice a heavy weight in your chest. And then on further noticing, you realize that this weight in your chest is pushing out, not in, and it has a decidedly purple quality to it. There's no wrong way to do this practice. All we're doing is practicing listening to our bodies, focusing inwards with careful attention, and learning to put language to it. Breathwork. Some practices I offer include breathwork. Breathwork is one of my favorite practices, one I use near daily in my own life, and many contemplative practices the world over have some sort of training meant to control the breath, likely because it is one way to access and mediate our autonomic systems. Through breath, we can both up and down-regulate our bodies. Breathwork may cause lightheadedness or tingling. Both of these are normal. However, if the sensations become too much, you can pretty immediately reduce them by breathing through the nose if I've instructed you to breathe through the mouth, or simply ceasing to follow the instructions and just allowing yourself to breathe normally. Especially in a home practice without a facilitator present, and especially if you are new to breathwork, don't push yourself too far outside of your comfort zone. As I mentioned, it can be upregulating, and if pushed too far, it can do more harm than good. So listen to your body and err on the side of caution until you become more familiar with breathwork itself and how your body responds. Conversely, you might feel the opposite of overwhelmed. Maybe you feel spacey, detached, or like you've gone somewhere else. That's also your nervous system responding more in a freeze response, and in this case, the same grounding principles apply. Breathwork contraindications. Breathwork is not suitable for every body. Do not do breathwork practices if you are pregnant, might be pregnant, or have a history of epilepsy, seizures, or cardiovascular conditions. During those practices, you can use that time instead for body scans. You can use the felt sense practice that I just described as a substitute for the breathwork segments, scanning your body and speaking aloud what you're noticing. The ritual container. Every practice opens and closes with a golden ring of light and an iridescent bubble as a way of making the work feel safe from inside out. This is how I learned to practice, and I have found it repeatedly practical and powerful. We know that intentions shape experience, and we have evidence for this from psychedelic research on set and setting. And so that's what we're doing when we purposefully open the space ritually. It's a moment before the practice begins of dropping in purposefully. I've also found through personal experience that I'm more likely to do change work in a ritualized context. Change is scary, which is why we often don't change. It's not that change is impossible, just that it's scary emotionally and costly biologically. In the book, How Emotions Are Made, Lisa Feldman Barrett talks about how our bodies budget our energy. When we do something new, we are stepping outside of that budget. So oftentimes what feels like a somatic no might just be your body saying it hadn't allocated the energy for the task at hand, and it imagines that the task will be expensive. The ritual container is a way of creating dialogue between the mind and body. I'm not asking myself to change forever. I can practice something different within a specific temporal context, and having a fixed start and end point helps manage feelings of difficulty. Setting up in this way signals to myself that this is important. I'm stepping outside the normal flow of life and inviting in specific energetic supports. The integration questions. Every practice ends with 3 questions. The first is, what did I learn about myself? Again, I'm building on Eugene Gendlin here, and this question taps into the body's capacity to hold and generate genuine knowledge, not just sensation, not knowledge that comes after thinking, but knowledge that arrives through feeling and sensation first. Western culture has a long habit of treating the mind as the real seat of intelligence, and then the body is just something that carries it around. And so this question is making a direct argument against this Western stance. This question is asking you to take seriously what your body just told you, to treat it as information, real as anything you might think your way toward. So try not to let yourself off the hook with, I'm not sure what I learned, because something assuredly happened if you did the practice. What do you know now that you didn't know before, no matter how small? The second question is, what am I grateful for? Robert Emmons and Michael Mikula have done extensive research showing that gratitude practice directly improves your well-being. And Barbara Fredrickson's broaden and build theory shows that positive emotions build on themselves over time, creating upward spirals. And each time makes the next more easily available. I end every practice with gratitude because somatic work can be hard and uncomfortable. And so learning to associate it with positive feelings is part of what makes it sustainable. It's part of what brings you back. The third and final question is, what would I like to celebrate? Dasher Keltner researches awe. And what he's found is that awe might just be even more powerful than gratitude. Even everyday awe counts. It doesn't have to be looking at a grand mountain or listening to a genius piece of music that breaks you open. It can be something tiny, something in the practice that felt even for just a second larger than ordinary experience. And that's what I want you to look out for and then celebrate, because B.J. Fogg argues that the act of celebrating, the act of naming and acknowledging yourself encodes the experience. So don't rush through this. Let yourself feel again for a moment what you felt in the practice and then celebrate it. So that is the orientation. That is how to begin. I will link a somatic practice below, and I invite you to try it out and let me know what you think.